My apartment was exactly what you'd expect from a cop who spent more time at the precinct than at home. Run down, peeling wallpaper, old carpet, and the constant smell of mildew. But it was mine, a refuge from the chaos of New York City. One Sunday afternoon, while shaving in front of my grimy bathroom mirror, I nudged it and noticed a yellowed envelope tucked behind. Curious, I pulled it out. Rules of passage was scrawled across the front. Inside was a strange list of rules. Do not make eye contact. Do not speak to them. Never carry more than can fit in your pockets. Do not take what is not dropped. Ignore all pleas for help. Do not eat or drink anything. Avoid the man in the conductor's uniform. Never go beyond the last platform. Never board the train. If you wish to leave, you must jump in front of the train. At first, I thought it was a prank, but something about the letter nagged at me, so I tucked it into my jacket pocket. Days passed, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Eventually, curiosity got the better of me. That night, I stood in front of the mirror, holding the letter. I pulled the mirror aside, and to my shock, it revealed a dark tunnel. Armed with a flashlight, I stepped inside. The air was damp and cold, the tunnel stretching into nothingness until I stumbled upon a subway platform. It looked like it was ripped straight from the 1940s. Advertisements for victory bonds, the faint smell of tobacco smoke, and ghostly figures in period attire going about their routines. I remembered the rules. No eye contact, no speaking to the figures. I watched from the corner of my eye as they moved like echoes of the past. Then I saw him, the conductor. His face was twisted with anger, and his polished uniform seemed to glow in the dim light. I avoided his gaze and kept my distance. I decided it was time to leave. As I walked back towards the tunnel, I saw some coins scattered on the ground. Old, tarnished, but dropped. I pocketed them, reasoning it didn't break the rules. But when I reached the tunnel, it was sealed. My only way out was to jump in front of an approaching train. I jumped. The next thing I knew, I was sprawled on my bathroom floor, the coins still clutched in my hand. Over time, the coins led me back to the tunnel, again and again. I collected more, old bills, coins, trinkets from the past. I played by the rules. But the thrill of wealth was intoxicating, and I couldn't resist. My visits became more frequent, and my behavior at work changed. My colleagues noticed my new watches and unexplained cash. Rumors started flying, and Rick, a friend and fellow detective, finally confronted me. I couldn't explain the truth to him, not right away, but eventually, I showed Rick and Lucy, another colleague, the tunnel. We ventured inside together, following the rules. But Lucy, curious and reckless, broke one. She stole a necklace from one of the figures, and the ghosts turned on her. They attacked, their rage palpable. Rick and I tried to flee, but in his panic, Rick boarded a ghostly train. The one thing I had warned him never to do. He vanished into the darkness as I jumped in front of another train to escape. When I woke, Rick and Lucy were gone. The portal had closed, and I was left with only the guilt of breaking the rules and the memory of Rick's terrified face pressed against the window of that train. Weeks passed, and the search for them went cold. But I knew where they were, trapped in that station. One night I heard a tapping behind the mirror. I took it down and found a new letter with more rules. Do not return for them. Do not look for doors where there are none. The past cannot be saved. Remember them as they were. The rules had changed, and I knew I could never go back. I stood in front of the mirror again, tracing the cool surface with my fingertips, my reflection dull in the dim bathroom light. The memory of Rick's face pressed against the train window and Lucy's screams haunted me, but now all I had were these new rules. Do not return for them. Do not look for doors where there are none. The past cannot be saved. Remember them as they were. My apartment felt more suffocating than ever. I couldn't shake the weight of what had happened, the pull of guilt as heavy as the secret I carried. The precinct had returned to a routine, but I was barely part of it. My mind drifted constantly, back to the station, back to that last fateful trip. I hadn't told anyone the truth about what had happened to Rick and Lucy. I had lied in the police reports, fed them the story of an unsolved disappearance. But I knew better. I knew the price of breaking the rules. That night the city was quiet. I sat at the edge of my bed, staring at the crumpled envelope that had fallen from behind the mirror. The new rules felt like a condemnation, final, cold, and without hope. There was no way to save Rick, no way to bring Lucy back.